For lesson 4, graphs of exponential functions, we're going to talk about what our exponential function graph looks like, whether they're increasing or decreasing, and a couple of the other properties about them. So the first one says graph the function f of x equals 2 parentheses 1/4 to the x. Now you're really definitely going to want to use your calculator for this, and it always is good to have a couple points on either side of the table as best you can. So as we go to make our table here and look at my calculator, the only point that fits in the negatives is -1. So I'm going to graph -1, 0, 1, and 2. So at -1 I have a y value of 8, 0 I have a 2, then I have a 0.5 and a 0.125. So I've got -1, 8, I have 0, 2, and I know that because the number out in front, my a value is 2. Then I have a 0.5, a 0.125, and we know that it will continue to increase as the time goes on here. Make a little bit of a better line. And I know that as I draw it, I always want to make sure that my line does not cross or touch the x-axis. That's our asymptote line. So that's what our graph of 2 times 1/4 to the x looks like. For our second one, write the equation for the function shown below. Now I know this is exponential because clearly we do not have a constant rate of change. So therefore we always need a y-intercept and we need our multiplying number or our pattern. In this case, I have my y-intercept nicely here. Okay, that's 2. So that one's easy. And then I have to figure out what my pattern is for all of these. So I go from 2 to 10, 10 to 50, 50 to 250. It's all a pattern of multiply by 5. So our multiplying number is 5. I have x's and y's, so my equation very simply is y equals 2 parentheses 5 to the x. Y-intercept of 5, y-intercept of 2, multiplying number of 5. Which of the following could be the equation for the exponential function graphed below? So this is obviously a decay function. It is decreasing as the graph goes along. So I'm going to cross out choice 1 and choice 2 because both 1 and 3 are increasing. Okay. Another word for increasing is our growth functions, which this is clearly not. So then next I have to look at between choice 2 and choice 4. I'm going to cross out choice 4. And the reason is the y-intercept is around 20, not 40. So therefore that leaves us with our correct answer of choice 2. It has a y-intercept somewhere around 20, which this one is, 18, and then it's decaying, so it has to have a multiplying number of less than 1, which it does at 0.75. So for the fourth one, for each of the following functions, state the y-intercept and decide if it is increasing or decreasing. So for the first one, f of n, my y-intercept is 125. And then, are we increasing or decreasing? We are increasing, all right? And again, our reason is that 1.25 in parentheses is greater than 1. For g of x, our y-intercept is 22, and then it's going to be decreasing, because as we look in our parentheses, our 3/4 is less than 1, or between 0 and 1. And then for h of t, our y-intercept is 256. And this is where people get confused. A lot of people like to say that this is an increasing function. But remember, 5 over 2 is really 2.5. So therefore it is increasing because 2.5 is greater than 1. So remember, just because there's a fraction in the parentheses does not mean your function is automatically decreasing. You have to make sure you evaluate that function to find out what the actual value of that number is.